Hello and welcome to Filmi Ladies. It is back to the rainbow, and today it's pink, which is Pitu's favorite color, and
Yes.
one of my top favorite colors for sure. If you can't tell by her wall, it's her favorite color. Every episode of Filmy Ladies is pink, actually.
It is.
But
So I recently discovered a really shocking thing. Apparently, when they interviewed people in the United States what their favorite color was, only 2% of the population said that pink was their favorite color. I was
I
like,
believe
what
that.
is wrong with these people?
Oh,
What is wrong with 98% of the population? But anyway, I am
well,
part of that 2%.
that would be fun to see actually what the breakdown is, and also by country, right? Like it's gonna vary to be so cool. Um, what are your top three favorite things about pink?
It's so happy.
Yeah.
It's just such a happy color. And I feel like there's no such thing as like a melancholic or depressing shade of pink. I feel like they're all happy. They're just varied in terms of their energy levels.
Mm.
Like blush pink is very like soft and dainty. And then there's fuchsia, which is like you're on crack or something. And then there's like bubblegum pink, which is my absolute favorite. It's just, I just associate pink with like happiness, cheeriness, joyfulness, enthusiasm, optimism. I feel like
Mm.
if someone loved the color pink and they were just like grumpy, it wouldn't compute. It would be like, why is this your favorite color? Like your favorite color should be like grage or something, you know?
That is such an insult coming from either of us. Your color is
I know,
beige.
right? It's very Wednesday Adams. Um, yeah, I just think it's a happy color. I've always loved it, and I
Yeah.
refuse to outgrow pink. I hate these like connotations that pink is associated with, where people are like, it's just like it's only women that wear pink, which
Yeah.
is such nonsense.
Yeah.
Or boys shouldn't wear pink. Again, nonsense.
Yeah.
Or the idea that pink is like naive or childish and things like that. I do think that that is one area in which India definitely kind of goes against all of those norms because
Mhm.
pink is literally worn by like Indian men in weddings, like fetas, and wedding sherwanis can be pink. Like Indian men are
Mm.
not scared of pink, and I
No.
love that because the Western world definitely is terrified of that color. Unless you're in Miami, the Miami people are not
Sure.
scared of pink.
Sure.
They're not scared of anything. Maybe they should be. What about you?
I mean, I love those things as well. To me, it always has a warmth, a rosiness,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really matter, like, because like the pink I have on is fairly bluish
Mm.
undertone, very cool toned. Yours is more yellow toned, I think, from or
Hmm.
at least on the screen. Everything in between, like they all seem to have a bit of a rosy, you
Yeah.
know, glow to them, and even the faintest hint of pink in a like a wall color, for example, in the morning makes it like
Yeah.
glowy and just gives that little bit of warmth. So I think that's what but it's
Yeah.
not as some pink is in your face, but not as often as say red.
Yeah.
So it
I mean, it's
has all the
definitely not a primary color.
it has most of the things I like about red, but just back a little bit.
Yeah.
And therefore maybe is more easy to mix with other things or add to other things or combine or whatever. So I
Yeah.
just think it's beautiful. I love
I
pinks.
know. It's such a color that you find in nature too, right? Like sunrises,
Yeah.
sunsets are pink. Yeah. And I was actually thinking about what pink is called in Hindi and Marathi, and it's the same color, which is gulabi, and
Right.
gulab is rose. So it literally just means rose
I think
colored.
that's common, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's what it is in French, for example. So I think that's
Oh, is it?
quite common.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I stumbled upon like a Reddit argument where like some artists were arguing about the color pink and they were like, unpopular opinion, pink is not really a color. It's just red mixed with white. And then that resulted in like a big
Oh,
fight where people were
it's a
arguing.
tint or a shade or whatever, not a tint, I guess, and not a color. Okay.
Yeah.
It is interesting that pink gets its own, in English, gets its own name, whereas like a tint of blue does not, or a
Right.
tint of green does not.
I mean, I would equate pink maybe with teal because teal is definitely neither blue nor green. Like it's a
Right.
combo.
But you need both those colors to make it,
Right.
whereas in pink, you really only need red plus white.
Well, I'm not an artist, but in the flame war that I was reading, there was some people who were saying that to get certain shades of pink, you need to mix like purple and some other stuff.
Oh,
So I was
sure.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. You
I will
can.
defer to you people.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think to make any kind of teal, you have to add some yellow to blue,
Yeah.
whereas to get pink as a base, you take red plus. for paint anyway. I'm sure with light, I know it's different, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I did read that I think the English word pink comes from, I think from the Netherlands because
Mm.
of the flower that's called pink. And
Mm.
apparently that's how it like came in the,
I'm wondering if flowers are why it does have a separate word in English because so many flowers are pink, especially in the springtime, right?
yeah,
It's one of those harbingers of spring.
yeah,
And so I wonder if there are enough things in nature that it requires its own. You can't just saying pale red is not enough
yeah.
or light
It
red.
just evokes
It'll be
different feelings.
yeah.
I think one of the most enchanting sights I've seen in my life was when I'd gone to Japan many years ago. And I went during Sakura time, so during the cherry
Mhm.
blossom season in March. And there's a park in Tokyo. It's called Ueno Park. It's basically like their central park, like it's massive. And it has cherry blossom trees everywhere. And there's like little brooks running through the park. And the cherry blossom trees are like planted on the sides of the brooks. And so literally the entire ground is carpeted in like these beautiful pink petals, and all the streams, the brooks, everything also have like pink petals on them. It's just the whole park is pink. And there's all these Japanese people that will sit on these little mats, and they'll have like Sakura Matsuri, which is like the festival of cherry blossoms, and they'll just sit and have tea. And I was like, what is this wonderland? I never want to leave. It was so great.
So what movie did you watch for Pink? I don't even know.
I know. I don't know your movie either. So I picked a movie that I really love. It's from 2010, and it's a Marathi movie called Natarang. Natarang is
Oh.
it's a Marathi word, but it comes from Sanskrit. Nata means the artist, and Rang is the arena on which the artist performs. So it's basically, it refers to like theater performers or like stage artists, right?
Oh.
And it's such an interesting movie. I have been wanting to talk about this film for a really long time because it's like a cult classic. At first, I was like, I'm going to talk about this movie when we do our LGBTQ episode. Then I thought, no, I'll do it when if we do an episode for International Dance Day. Like if we want to do a movie on dance, I'll pick it. And then I was like, okay, no, I'm going to pick it for Pink. So it's a very interesting film. It's based on a novel written in 1978 by Anand Yadav. The novel is also called Natarang. And it's a very interesting, subversive movie that is especially beloved by queer people, but
Hmm.
also loved by just Marathi people in general. And it has like a very recognizable soundtracks, even to people who are not familiar with Marathi cinema. So the story is very interesting. So Atul Kulkarni plays the main protagonist. He is the Natarang of whom we speak. He's a person who lives in a village and just has this kind of like whatever job, and then he loses his job, and so now he's struggling about what to do for money. And he loves attending tamasha, meaning lavani performances. That's the Marathi folk dance tradition where there's all these like beautiful female dancers, and it's like a little bit bawdy and a little bit raunchy and stuff like that. And it's interesting, when the movie begins, you see all of these men sitting and watching this performance, and they're all like being lecherous because it's Amrita Khanvilkar, who's this absolutely gorgeous dancer, and she's on stage and she's performing this song. They're all like gaping at her. And you look at Atul Kulkarni and you can see how his eyes, like how his gaze goes around. He's actually taken in the whole thing because he's enchanted by the art of it. And he's not a performer of any sort or anything. He's just like a laborer person. So he comes up with this idea where he says he gathers up a motley crew of villagers. Most of them are just his friends. And he's like, why don't we start our own tamasha troupe? And we'll just, like, you can sing, I can act, you can dance, and blah, blah, blah. And then people are like, sure, I mean, we're willing to do it. We can probably make money this way. But the problem is, like, we need a woman dancer. Like, for the Lavani, like who are we gonna get? And it's so funny, like they basically go door to door to door. There's this whole montage of like women throwing them out of their houses and like hitting them with chappals because they're going up to like random women. And the montage is so funny. It starts out with like young beautiful village women that they're asking, and the women are like, how dare you? And then it is subsequently they're like asking like old women like these old grannies who are like missing teeth, and they're like, do you want to dance first? And they're like, absolutely not, we're gonna bash you up. But then there's a chance encounter, there's a wedding procession happening, and they see this absolutely beautiful girl just dancing, and it's the actress Sonali Kulkarni. She has the most enchanting green eyes, and she's a trained dancer as well. And they're just enchanted by her, and they discover that her mother used to be a Launi performer. So they say her name is Nena. So they say, would Nena be interested in performing with our troupe? And the mom negotiates a thing where they agree. Now, here's the twist. So in every Launi performance, traditionally used to have someone called a Nachya, which was basically an effeminate man whose role in the performance was to be the Launi dancer, the girl's confidant. So he's not like a guy, but he's also not a woman either. And typically these were like gender fluid people. Some of them were actually trans, some were not trans, some were just cis heterosexual men pretending to be like that. So it's kind of like this very amorphous space, and with varying degrees of whether you were accepted in society or not. And so she says, do you have a Nachya? And they're like, no, we don't. We have like, we have like a compere, and we have male, performers, and we have people to play the dholak and everything. We don't have a Nachya though. And she's like, well, I'm not going to perform Launi if there's no Nachya, because like that's supposed to be like my the question and answers, and like he teases me and jokes and stuff, and I'm not going to do it without them. So they can't. So now you have another montage where they're trying to get men to be the Nachya, and all of these men are like, absolutely not. So eventually Atul Kulkarni's character has to become the Nachya, because there's no other choice. It's like she's not going to sign on unless you have one. This is where the story gets very interesting, because now you have a heterosexual man who is a wrestler, who's proud of his body, who's married, who has a father, who has a son. He's very proud of his manhood in a way. And now he has to shave off his mustache. He has to be clean shaven. There's a scene where he's putting eyeliner, and literally his first scene where he shows up on stage as the Nachya, he's wearing like a blush pink silk kurta and like a little vest, and he has like nail polish on his finger, and he has to do all these like very like effeminate sort of mannerisms and stuff. And then he has to speak in like a really squeaky, high-pitched voice. And it's really interesting. Like this movie is so interesting because it looks at concepts like, what is it to be a man? What is it to be a woman? And what happens when you're a man pretending to be a man who's actually maybe not a man but a woman? So it asks some very interesting questions. It also asks what is now going to happen to your status. So when he creates this theater troupe, he casts himself in the role of the king. Like he wants to be a Raja, right? So there's all these scenes where he's like giving these like big dialogues as a Raja, but now he's the Nachya, and it's kind of like, how is society going to see him? How is his wife going to see him? There's a scene where his wife, who is so proud of him because he's starting to actually make money, she's sitting in the audience, and the first time she sees him in that garb, she's just like humiliated, because she's like, what has happened to my husband, right? So it's just a very interesting movie, and it talks about how people look at men who are doing things that are maybe not quite acceptable in society, but he's doing it because he cares about the art, and he's also doing it for survival because he doesn't have any other mode of income. There's also a very interesting scene where he falls in love with the dancer, and she kind of talks about how it's fine to fall in love with the Nachya. You wouldn't want to marry him though. And it's really heartbreaking for him when he hears that, because it's like, what do you mean? Like, to him it's compartmentalized, but that's the thing. To him it's a role, but to society it's a question mark. Are you a man or are you a woman? And I don't want to give any spoilers away, but like towards the latter half of the film, he talks about how he wants to write a play and he wants to write his own story. And he's weaving in mythological characters, like in the Mahabharata, Arjun has to dress as a woman to be in disguise. Or he talks about how God, like Vishnu, has to dress as a woman, or there's like an avatar of Vishnu where he's actually half man or half woman or whatever. So he's trying to like rationalize all of those things. It's not necessarily landing with society, but it's very interesting. And there's a really good dialogue in this movie where he is trying to validate his own existence, and he says to this man, the reason I'm writing this play is because I believe that inside every man there's a woman, and
Mm.
inside every woman there's a man, and I want to explore that and talk about that. And the expression on the other actor's face is so interesting. He's saying all the right things to him, but you can tell from his face he doesn't believe him.
Mm.
And it's like, it's this very patronizing, like, oh, that's so true, you're so right, I support you, friend, but like, also he doesn't though. So it's a very interesting movie. I would call this movie very feminist. It is not necessarily a woman-centric film, but it's definitely a feminist film. It's definitely a very like queer friendly movie. It's a movie that asks very important questions about sexuality, and it
Mm.
asks questions about whether art and politics can survive separately, and the answer is they can't. They
Mm.
are enmeshed, and you can call yourself a performer, but society is going to label you in a certain way. And part
Mm.
of the reason I chose this movie for pink is because I think pink is a politicized color. We have the pink tax that we pay, where women's products cost so much more. Like a razor from Gillette that's marketed to women costs more than a razor for men. Tampons cost more than products that are marketed towards men. So we have pink tax. We have pink jobs. Like I
Mm.
work in a pink job because I work in fashion.
Mm.
Um, and so, what happens when you're a man and you are basically doing a pink job, which is what he is doing, right? And how do you lose your male privilege? One of the easiest ways to lose your male privilege is to embrace your feminine side.
Mm.
Uh, and the minute he steps on stage, not wearing a dhoti kurta, but wearing a baby pink kurta with pink nail polish and surma in his eyes and pink lipstick,
Mm.
that's when he completely becomes a different person in the eyes of society, and not an equal person,
Right.
a lesser person. So it's such a good movie for feminists to watch. It's a good movie to talk about things like sexuality and the performing arts, the politics of performances, gender fluidity, even whether women are still going to be attracted to you or not, and what does that do to your own self-esteem as a man. It explores toxic masculinity.
Mm.
It's such a good subversive film to ask,
Mm.
and it asks questions instead of just preaching to you. There's also a very moving scene in this film, which is just like a little light-handed moment where he buys a sari for her because he doesn't know how to be a nacha. She's a dancer, and he says to her, I'm literally like a laborer, and like I do kushti, like I build my body, I have muscles. I don't know how to be a nacha. I don't know what those mannerisms are. Like, you need to teach
Mm.
me. And she does teach him. And so in gratitude, he buys her a sari, and he says, this is Guru Dakshana. Like, you are my guru, you're my teacher.
Mm.
Here is my payment. Never, ever, ever are women seen as gurus. Even
Mm.
in dance or in art or in music or even in the culinary arts, it's like in English where Sri Devi says, if a man cooks, it's art. If a woman cooks, it's just whatever, you're just doing your duty anyway, right? So he's actually treating her as like his superior because she taught him how to do the whole like nacha thing and how to dance like a woman, right? So it's a very beautiful feminist film. It's very tender hearted. It's also like very funny, and the soundtrack is just chef's kiss. It has
Mm.
Apsara Ali, it has Khel Mandla, it has Mala Zaudiana Ghari Tawazle Ki Bara, which later Vidya Balan did in the she did it in Ferrari Ki Savari, I think, that
Oh
same
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
It's originally from this movie. And
Ah.
one thing I love is that the dancers are actual trained dancers. So both Amrita Khanvilkar, whom I've seen live in stage performances, as well as Sonali Kulkarni, are trained Kathak dancers. They're trained Lavani dancers. And oh my God, it is like a joy to watch them perform, like just their finesse and their acting and their expressions. And they're so seductive,
Mm.
but it's beautiful to watch them dance. So Natarang is the movie that I brought for pinkness, and I believe people can watch it on YouTube. I just watched it on like Einthusen, but I will put the YouTube link in the captions, and also people should watch Bazile Ki Bara, and especially Apsara Ali, which is just like one of the most beautifully choreographed songs of all time. So yeah,
Do
that
you,
was my
do you remember off the top of your head if the YouTube link has English subtitles?
I actually didn't look for it on YouTube. I just directly looked on Einthusen because with YouTube I have to watch ads and I'm lazy.
Sure, sure,
So if I can find something on Einthusen, I usually just watch it there.
sure.
But I'll look for it.
Do
Yeah,
you think someone needs to know anything in particular about Marathi cinema to appreciate this film, or can you go in pretty cold?
you can go in pretty cold. I think this is not a movie for beginners though. So I had initially also, so I have considered this movie for every episode. LGBTQ, check. Dance movies, check. I thought about it for beginners as well for Pink, and I was like, there is no way a beginner will get this movie. Like, there's too much subtext, which
Mm.
is why I ended up picking Khubsurat for beginners. Wait, did I pick? I don't even remember anymore. I have a terrible memory. But yeah, I think you don't need to know Marathi movies to watch this movie. It's very human and you can get it pretty easily. In fact, I struggled a little bit with the dialect because they are from the village. The Marathi I speak is very urban. I My Marathi is very Mumbai, and they speak in like a little bit of like a very strong accent, and they use words that I have only heard like in plays and stuff because it's just a much more archaic. Oh, it's also set in the 70s. I forgot to
Oh,
mention.
okay.
So, which doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's I think anyone can watch it and understand it. And at the end, I really love this. At the very end of the movie, when the credits are rolling, there was a montage of famous Launi performers, as
Mm,
well as like light men, makeup men, people who are
nice.
sitting on the stage, and they looked like actual photos from like history. It
Oh,
was
that's
so
cool.
cool. There were photos of like turban villagers sitting and watching like this. There were I recognize so many of the Lavani dancers whose performances I have seen, like Surekha Punekar, whom I'm a giant fan of. And I was just like, if you love Lavani as I do, it's my favorite dance performance. It is a joy to watch this movie.
Mm.
So yeah.
And the pinkness, the thing
Mm.
I heard you call out specifically is when he puts on a pink piece of clothing and nail
Yes.
polish, and that was key to him
Yeah.
beginning to kind of think about some of the big questions you were raising.
Yeah, because in the beginning of the film, when he's just a villager and a laborer who is trying to somehow make his dream of like being in the performing arts a reality, he's wearing all earthen tones.
Mm,
He's wearing dhotis, he's wearing beiges and browns and khakis. Him and all of his friends, like everyone in the village, his wife, everyone is wearing these very like earthy villager tones that you would associate. They're wearing cottons. Some of his friends have like tears in their clothes because they're poor, right? But
right.
then when he steps on stage, there is such a pinkness about him. There's this, it's so interesting because usually in films, like in Hindi cinema or even in Hollywood films, when they're showing the femme fatale getting ready, like in our beloved Kunbari Mag, there's always that like close up shot of her putting lipstick and doing
Yeah.
this, and then putting her eye makeup and the
Yeah.
mascara and the hair, and then there's the big reveal, right? In this movie, it's the guy who's doing it.
That's cool.
There is no shot
Yeah.
of the actress or the female dancer getting ready. The first time we see that getting ready glamour shot, it's him. You see a man putting lipstick, the close up shot. You see a man putting the eyeliner. You see a man like doing his hair and everything. And then when you see the full reveal, it's Atul Kulkarni and it's your first time seeing him. And Atul Kulkarni actually lost 20 kilos to do this film. So in the beginning of this film, when you see him without a shirt, when he's just wearing his dhoti and he has like a pancha, we call it, I don't know what the word is, like a stole on
Mm,
him, you can see he has biceps, you can see he's strong because this is a person who does manual labor, right? Like
mhm.
he has like a body. And then later on you see him looking so much more delicate and dainty.
Mm,
Like now he's like lean and thin, and his transformation is
interesting.
incredible. Like he walks on his in Marathi we'd call it saudya, but it's like if you were walking wearing a high heel but there's no
Like
shoe.
Barbie.
Yes, exactly. Or like in the terminal, that scene where Catherine Zeta-Jones shoes high heels fall off and she still walks like
Oh.
that. So it's like that. Like he's standing like that the whole time. He has his hand on his hip. He has this kind of like whole thing he's doing. And it's just the transformation is so weird to see, because you go from like rugged, muscular, and Atul Kulkarni is a very sexy man. Like
Mm.
he's really handsome and he looks really good and rugged and like bronze in that. And then you see him and you're like, what the heck? And it's just shocking. And like even his wife, when she sees him in the audience, she's like, what just happened? So it's a really beautiful movie.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's very central to our conversations on pink and femininity.
Mm.
Yeah. What movie did you watch?
I watched Honeymoon Travels Private Limited, which is a
Ah!
rewatch, but I had not seen this movie in a very long time, so it was fun
I have
to
not seen it in a long
revisit
time
it.
either. Okay.
So for those who don't know, I chose it because it is about a bunch of newly married couples who get on a bus, which is pink, and go to Goa for like a 4-day honeymoon trip.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those great ensemble cast films where you spend a little bit of time with each of the pairs, and sometimes, like some of the wives, you see them talking, or some of the husbands, you see them talking, and you get to see a little bit about the bus driver and the tour guide who's with them. Uh,
Mm.
and then a few subsidiary people who are sort of connected people to some of the various people on the trip. So this was the first film that came to mind, I think, for me for Pink. Bunty or Bubbly is also very pink to me, but since we just talked about that for another purpose, I wanted to do this one. Also, I wanted to rewatch this because I hadn't seen it
Yeah.
in a long time. It's Rima Kagti's directorial debut. She wrote it as well. Anurag Kashyap was also involved with the writing,
Oh,
which I don't think I remembered. I didn't remember if I ever pieced that together. So it was really fun. And it's from, let's see, 2007, I believe. Yes. And gosh, that seems like a million years ago.
it is. And it's
But you
House
have,
of Akhtar.
yeah, House of Akhtar in a way. And so you have Shabana Azmi and Boman Irani as a newly
Oh.
married couple, and you get their backstory, which is, I won't say much more than this, but that both of their previous spouses have died. So this is a second
Mm.
marriage for both of them. And there's a real gut punch in their backstory that I had no memory of whatsoever. So that was really fun. It's really great to see Shabana in some of these lighter
Mm.
moments. Like her character is not reserved, but just older and sort of more mature in a way compared to some of the shenanigans of the younger
Yeah.
people on the trip, who I think everyone else is basically in their 20s, late 20s, probably. And Bowman Irani is his, kind of comic uncle, but not quite. It's sort of in that direction, but not fully. And they both get a really nice range of things to do. Newsflash, Shabana Azmi is really good.
Yeah. You don't say, Beth.
I know. It's not like we've done whole episodes on that or anything. Then you get, for example, Amisha Patel, who's a person that I don't really have particular feelings about, but she's very pink in this movie. She wears a lot of pink. She's from Chandigarh. She's a loud Delhiite, very squeaky, very, very, sort of lost in her dreams. There's a fun sequence of her sort of looking for pearls and imagining herself kind of like a mermaidish thing
Yeah.
it's like a Jitendra song, like with the giant seashells on the
Yeah.
shore and stuff. Very fun. And her relationship is very interesting. You have Abe Deol with uh
Minisha Lamba.
Manisha Lamba, another person I have no, when she came on the screen, I was like,
Possible.
oh yeah, you. I kind of forgotten about her. They have a funny arc, and they are both perfectly matched in their relationship, and everyone is like, wow, they never fight. Wow, how are they so in sync? Wow. And then you'll find out what their deal is.
Right.
Um, yeah, really, really interesting. And there's some other ones. Dia Mirza is there for a short time, married to Ranveer Shori, and that's a very unhappy marriage. You can tell she
Yeah.
want to be there, and then something interesting happens there.
Mhm.
And then maybe my favorite is KK Menon and Raima Sen play a young Bengali couple um, who are
I love
depicted,
her parachute thingy.
yeah, that they fell in love in college, but then their mother, as they stepped towards marriage, their mothers really like poisoned them about, okay, marriage
Oh,
is very antagonistic, and don't let your wife take an inch, don't let your husband take an inch, that kind of thing. And that's really like kind of ruined their connection. So we spent some time with them. And I wanted to mention them in particular because when I think KK Menon, I do not think star of an amazing song.
Right.
But this, that song has what is the name of that amazing song that he's in?
I
Um,
can't remember it, but I do remember the scene of like where Rama Sen is under the bougainvillea and the flowers are falling. It's very romantic and cute.
oh, there's that one, but no, he gets um Sajanaji Vari Vari. That's what I'm
Ah, yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Where this is great day, and everybody starts dancing on a
Yeah,
boat, and he has been given some spiked
right.
Coca-Cola type thing, and he's like really cutting loose, and it's real, and all the characters are dancing and having a good time, and it's really
Yeah,
really fun. That song is so
it's
good.
so
I'd
good.
completely forgotten that song. Um, I was not, I did not visit India near to after that song came out, but to me, that must have been, was that one that was played everywhere for a
Yes.
while? Yeah, it's just
It's so catchy.
it's so catchy. The singing is great. I just like the instrumentation on it really well. Like that, I just, like, oh yeah, why do I not listen to this all the time? This is a great,
Yeah.
great song. But yeah, so I think this movie is creative. I think it's got a lot of optimism in it in a way that I
Hmm.
really appreciate that but it allows for those optimisms to be shaped and individualized to these specific people as units and then as individuals in a way that is, I think, really lovely and generous.
Mm.
If people have not seen this, I recommend it. If you, like me, had not seen it in a good 15 years or so, give it a rewatch. It's really good. And um, I would say a little bit ahead of its time in certain ways that I don't want to say because it will be a spoiler for people who haven't seen it before, but I think this movie holds up quite well. I wasn't sure
Mm.
that it would, although, House of Akhtar you can usually rely on for some um forethought in ways that have worked out well for that,
Yeah.
right? Like we just talked about how Dil Dhadakne Do has held up really well, for example. But I
Dil chata hai.
yeah, Delta Tahoe obviously holds up. So
Hmm.
this was a treat to spend some time with. And the pinkness, in addition to Amisha Patel and the bus, again, the rosy glow of love is kind of
Hmm.
throughout this movie. And it plays up in different ways, and love takes on different shapes as it should for each set of people who love each other. That's really nice. Also, they're on holiday in Goa, so there's a lot of sort of pink flowers. As you were mentioning,
Hmm.
there's a song with pink flowers kind of falling from a tree. um, there's
There's
kind of
sunrises and sunsets on
yeah,
the
there's
beach.
some of the rosy paint and brickwork in Goa or stonework
Mm.
in Goa. Um, and yeah, and just the just sort of happy vacation glow, I think is a legit use of pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a fun
And
one.
what did you think of like the Sandhya Mridul and Vikram Chitwal character pair?
Which one are they?
They're the,
He's the American.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a couple where the man is of Indian ancestry but has grown up abroad. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be British or American, but something like that. And then he has come to India to get married. And they also both have interesting backstories that I won't spoil,
Hmm.
but they come to that marriage for different reasons under the surface that raise some interesting tensions. I really liked that one, and I thought it was a generous, again, a generous and kind of kind
Hmm.
resolution to the problem that they discover
Hmm.
in their pairing. And people are allowed their reactions but end up being kind to one another, which is
Right.
a very pink, rosy, heartwarming
Yeah.
lesson that is hard to do sometimes, especially when
Yeah.
you're
It's also interesting because it's like it's this movie could so easily be one note, I feel like.
right.
Because I mean, on the surface of it, if you try to sell this pitch to someone where you're like, oh, it's all these happily married couples, these newlyweds on like a honeymoon trip, and it's like, oh, but the fact that everyone is so different and there's like happy marriages and unhappy marriages and confused people and a lot of dysfunction there, along with people who are in fact fairly well matched, I think just makes it so
Mhm.
interesting. And like the levels of maturity of all of these like people is so different, right? Like there's Amisha Patel and then there's Shabana Azmi, and they're like in the same movie.
Yeah,
um
and they don't, those two don't interact very much, which is probably for the best for Amisha Patel. But I again, she's the easiest one to pick on in this movie, in the
yeah,
cast, I would say. And
she's
it's
kind of a
mostly
caricature.
her caricature is very silly. And she was reminding me of, it's kind of like if Pooh from K3G was like
Yeah,
more good-natured, almost like
yeah,
she's very vain. she's very self-centered. She's very stuck on her own narrative. And the film shows why that can be a problem, but also what are some good things about like knowing who you are and what you want, right? So
Yeah.
she's an interesting one. Just a quick note on I do not recommend that anyone read Vikram Chatwal's Wikipedia because I learned something horrible about him as a human
Oh,
being.
he's
So
terrible.
please don't look at it. And I know you're
Mm.
just going to go look now because I told you not to, but I'm serious. Please do not look. You'll be very angry. So,
That whole family is very questionable, just
yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
Like his father, his ex-wife, all of the people. I mean, now Priya Chitwal has, I've heard Priya Chitwal's name more this past month than I have in like years because of the whole Sanjay Kapoor, Karishma Kapoor, like divorce, death, whatever situation. But yeah, she's Vikram Chitwal's ex-wife. So shady, shady people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
This is another movie where I'm like, "Man, I like KK Menon.
Yeah, I
I
know.
do. I do. I don't seek out his work, but again, always
Mhm.
happy to see him. But like extra, I didn't remember that character much. So I was like, I wonder where this is gonna go. And I was like, yeah,
I
cute
feel like KK Menon was like the proto Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
in a way. Yeah.
Right? Like Nawazuddin now does the things that KK used to do back in the day. And like I love KK Menon from like Hazaro Khwahishe Aisi,
Oh,
which
sure.
emo myself loved. Of course, I'm so
Of
emo. Of
course.
course I
Of
love that
course.
movie. But he was so great in that. And then Sandhya Mritul is also so great. And it's like this movie has like some people that I wish we saw more of and definitely made me think like, where is this person now? Um,
Right. Yeah, she's very good. I thought I think everyone's really good in this movie, honestly. I don't if there's a weak link,
mm.
it might be Karan Khanna, son of our my anyway beloved Vinod Khanna, right? That's the son from the second marriage, I believe.
He's in this
And
movie?
yeah, he plays Amisha's husband.
Oh, okay.
And he just has not done a whole lot else, if I recall correctly. But I also think I don't think he's terrible, but also I think it's the character because his character is fairly reserved most of the time. Again, I'm not going to say why, but
Mhm.
you see him kind of wrestling with a few things, and he being married to Amisha Patel's character is clearly going to be difficult for him, at least until he sorts out a few things and maybe learns to use his words a little bit.
Right. I actually remember enjoying the Dia Mirza and Ranveer Shore pairing in this, and I can safely say I've never enjoyed Dia Mirza in anything ever, but I
Oh,
did enjoy her in this because they were just so like over the top and like her reactions because clearly this is not a marriage she wants to be in, and
right.
Ranveer Shore getting mad at her and like I like the interactions between them a lot.
My apologies to Karan Khanna. First of all, he is the nephew of Vinod Khanna, not the
Okay.
son, and that explains why he doesn't look exactly like him, like his two the two sons we know. Um, but also he's been in a bunch of things, mostly TV, which is why I don't know who he is. So my
Oh,
apologies, sir, if you are listening
okay.
to this podcast and two fans of his. But yeah, so I really do think his kind of
The weakest
less
link.
obvious presence in the movie is really the character and not him. This is a great film. Rima Kagti knows what she's doing. Again, Kelsey
Hmm.
Freeze. But when I look at, I actually haven't even seen all of her movies because she did Gold, which I haven't
Mm.
watched, and I haven't seen all the
Does
TV
not
stuff
sound
she's done.
appealing.
So you know, um, what a great movie this is.
Yeah.
Watch it.
What are some other movies? I mean, I know that this was the first one you wanted to talk about for Pink from a long time, but what are some other movies apart from Bunty or Bubbly that you associate with the color pink?
I was gonna have to go look at screen grabs, honestly, because I would suspect that a very large proportion of the Hindi movies I watch in particular have pink in them.
Yeah.
So I might have just chosen some favorite outfits. So I am sure Sri Devi is out there in a pink and hat tip to our friend Amalu from Blog Days frock. She talks
Oh
about
yeah.
Sri Devi wears frocks.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like a cupcake dress, an
Divya
inverted
Bharti
cupcake.
too.
So I could just find a Sri Devi in a pink frock movie. I could find a, I know Parveen Bobby has some beautiful pink outfits, although maybe I've talked about like in Suhag, she wears some, but we've already talked about that movie a little bit. But
No.
I was going to start digging through screen grabs just to get my sort of creative juices flowing and probably would have been swamped, utterly swamped
Yeah.
with choices. So I was glad to kind of just happily settle on this one quickly. I was thinking about gender a little bit, because
Mm.
yeah, I certainly when I was new to Indian films, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Men wear pink a lot in the movies at
Yeah.
least. And then when I've been in India, I'm like, oh yeah, pink, men wear pink. Um,
Yeah.
so it
I
would
think
have
it
been
was
fun to
Diane
try
von
to
Furstenberg who said that pink is the navy blue of India, which I was like, yes, it is.
nice,
This
nice.
is true.
It would have been fun to try to choose a few things that maybe had pink on multiple people or like a
Yeah.
song. I know there are songs where the backup dancers wear some stunning pink as well.
Oh, yeah, for
Excuse me,
sure.
everybody. My kitty cat needs to make an appearance. He has a little pink tongue that sometimes goes out of the corner of his mouth
So
because he's
cute.
missing some teeth. So sometimes his tongue rolls out a little bit and it's very cute, but he drools. So anyway, yeah, lots of pink.
This is a very pink screenshot right now.
It is a very pink screenshot. Oh, yeah, there's the tongue. There we go. People chompy today. I don't know why. Um,
You know who
yeah.
else has worn some real fun, like candied almond pink outfits is Karishma Kapoor
Oh,
in the
sure.
early 90s with big ginormous bows and her terrible permed hair. Like there used to be this absolutely horrible movie that I do not recommend, but I have watched it multiple times when I was young because I had poor taste. This movie is called Nishchay, and it had Salman Khan and Karishma Kapoor in it. Very bad movie, and
Mm.
not like one of the bad in a good way, like just bad. And there's a song in it called Dekho Dekho Tum, and I used to be obsessed with it. And
Oh.
she's wearing a baby pink satin frock with multiple tiers and ruffles and layers and puff sleeves and the bow and all the things. And that dress was like my favoriteest dress at the time, and I desperately wanted it. There's
Uh,
also, I remember the pink satin sari that Divya Bharti wears in Divana when it's her birthday. And then there's that song Teri Umeed with like the guitar and everything.
I'm quickly looking at this song in YouTube with it on mute, and you are not kidding.
Right? Isn't it the most delightful pink outfit? It is such a frock.
Oh yeah,
The
that is a
song is
frock and
actually
a
not bad.
half.
And she twirls in it. And I was just like, I would just watch this song, like, just like gobsmacked. Like, how do I acquire this outfit?
Yeah, she's like it's almost like yeah, it's very bridesmaid
Yeah,
dress-y to
it's
me.
very it's like a tiered wedding cake
Mhm.
almost.
And puffy
I
sleeves too.
unironically,
Yeah,
yes, I unironically, unabashedly love this dress. I would wear it.
it's
You know what's
fun.
so, I mean, obviously in Hollywood, the pinkest movie I know is Legally Blonde, duh. But apart from that, Bridesmaids also has a lot of pink
Hmm.
in it.
Yeah, because their dresses are pink, aren't they?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're that really terrible pink satin, the really shiny, cheap polyester kind of satin. Sounds really good. What other Hollywood movies do you associate with the color pink? I feel like Hollywood movies, if it's pink, it's just straight up a comedy. No one's
Oh,
ever
that's
going to be wearing
interesting.
pink in a serious way in Hollywood. Whereas in India, you could have like an art movie, and they could be wearing pink, and it would be fine.
I mean, there must be some exceptions to that, but I'm not going to be able to come up with any, of course. Um, yeah, I don't. It doesn't imprint on me in Hollywood movies particularly, although I will say I do believe Wes Anderson uses a fair amount of pink for comedy.
Yes,
And
so
anything
much.
set in or filmed in mid-century America, there's going to be
Hmm.
pink.
Yeah,
Pink countertops, pink tables and chairs and cars and things like that. Elvis movies are going to have pink in them, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Grease, American Graffiti.
Pink also goes um, Florida, tropical. In
Yes.
United States culture, I think a lot. I'm so sorry, my cat is doing I don't know what.
Art
But yeah,
Deco.
anything with a flamingo, like
Hmm.
pink again is like fun vacation time, and that kind of
Palm
thing. And then you
Springs is
get like
very pink.
and then like desert sunsets and things. I've barely ever been
Yeah.
to the desert in the United States, but I hear tell the sunsets often have pink in them, and there's the rosy stones, in a lot of the
Yeah.
sunsets. So it's going to be, and then spring flowers. A lot of places are pink,
Hmm.
like we were saying. So, but yeah, like if I'm, you know, Hollywood gangster movies. I don't know if there's a lot of pink. Star Wars, is
Right.
there much pink? Probably not. It's kind of
Yeah.
grimy out there in space, apparently.
Anything actiony, or my beloved Terminator, Alien, all of the none of that stuff is gonna have no
I do
pink.
suspect it is more gendered,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So
Hmm.
if a movie is focused on men, there probably won't be a ton of pink in it, is my
Right.
off the top of my head guess. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like oh, so one of my favorite American movies is Pillow Talk with Rock Hudson and Doris Day. There is
I've never
definitely
seen
pink.
it.
Oh, Pitu, you would love it.
Okay.
There's definitely pink in that, and it's set in the mid, filmed in I think 1959 is when it comes out, something like
Okay.
that. So there's a lot of those like mint, pale yellow, you know,
Right.
baby blue, pink, and there's a whole bunch of. And she's an interior decorator, so you see she always has a lot of fun outfits with her little pillbox hat and her suits and everything.
Right.
So that's
Oh,
fun.
you just made me think of Jackie Kennedy's pink outfit
Famous pink suit.
with the hat.
I
Yeah,
saw that
very
a
famous
celebrity
suit.
recently went as Jackie Kennedy in that pink
I
suit with the blood
know.
on it for Halloween. I'm like, that's
So terrible.
really tacky.
But I am a grudge holder for, like, I'm a very famous grudge holder. But I have never liked I've never liked Chloe Sevigny. I don't care how much of an art film and indie
Mm,
movie darling she is, but I have carried a grudge against her ever since she went as dead Princess Diana for Halloween. Because
that's not a great
she
choice either.
No, so terrible. Yeah, like let's not make fun of people who died in tragic circumstances.
Right.
Um, have you ever seen the TV show Mad Men? I have
Of
not,
course.
but
Yes.
oh, you have seen it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is there a lot of pink in it? I feel like given the decade,
I
there
don't
would probably be
remember. I
brown,
feel
but
like I kind of in my head I'm seeing more red and purple than I am
okay.
pink, but I don't know that that's true. I've only watched it once, so
Okay.
but I'm sure if there is pink, it's deployed extremely specifically because everything about that show is very, very careful and meticulous, I think. So, I mean, that's the
It's a very
impression it has anyway. So I'm sure there's pink and I'm sure like Joan, the femme fatale must wear pink at some point, for example, but I'm not
mm.
picturing what the scene is, but yeah.
Oh, when you said femme fatale, you made me think of Marilyn Monroe's pink strapless sheath dress from Gentlemen Prefer Blonde. So beautiful with the
Absolute classic.
diamonds.
And
So
Madonna's
classic.
tribute there
Yes.
too, of course.
Hmm.
Amisha Patel has an umbrella in this movie. I think it's really she's using it as a parasol more,
Ah.
but it has, I think it's Madonna on it.
Oh,
It
really?
kind of went by fast, but I was like, where did she get a pink umbrella with Madonna on it? Can I have it?
Right?
It's so cool.
That is awesome. You've seen Dirty Dancing, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
I love that movie. That movie's so amazing. Anyway, so I love her blush pink dress in that too.
Mhm.
The one that's like on the cover, and then it's at the end of that like amazing dance performance where Patrick Swayze comes out. Oh, so good. But
My
that's a
fellow Gen Xers, which includes you, are going to be shocked to
yay.
know that that movie did not imprint on me at all. And I was
Really?
exactly the right age. It was at every slumber party in junior high, but I just didn't. And I'll tell you, I think
I am shook at.
I don't know why exactly, but I will say I have never liked Patrick Swayze as an actor. I know. And his early death was so sad to so many people I knew. And I'm like, I'm sad
For
as, like as a
me.
human, he seems like,
Yeah,
as far
yeah.
as I know, was a good human and
He was
everything. But I'm like,
lovely.
as an actor, I've just never enjoyed him, with possibly the exception of Tu Wong Fu, of course.
Oh,
But,
Tu Wong Fu is amazing.
you know,
I
yeah,
love him in Point Break. I have never had the slimmest desire to ever surf. No, thank you. Do not want to get into the cold water in some like terrible
no.
black wetsuit. But Point Break makes me want to surf. I mean, it's a fleeting desire, and it's only because I want him to teach me. But so I have like a vested interest. But I mean, Keanu Reeves and him in Point Break, and I'm like, I love this. Yeah, I mean, I don't think people such as myself who love Patrick Swayze are necessarily watching his movies because he's a thespian, Beth. We have other more primitive thought
Yeah,
processes happening in our
sure,
minds.
sure. I mean, the Barbie movie of what was that, 2 summers ago, like has rewritten the whole, thing about pink
Yeah.
in Hollywood. And we do, if you are a new listener to us, we did do an episode about the Barbie movie. So we have plenty of thoughts on pink in that
Yes.
in that episode that you can watch if you would, or listen to if you would like. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick flip through a list of iconic pink moments in Hollywood, but a lot of them are red carpet clips, and that's not the same thing.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, pink is lots of places really.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have any final thoughts on the subject of pink?
No, other than that, I enjoy thinking about it, and well, I'm sure I'll be letting happy images of pink wash over me as I, you know, and the next took. Oh my God, Grease! How can I forget Grease?
Yeah.
The Pink Ladies, again, very
Yeah.
mid-century.
With the pink
Um,
poodles,
yeah,
the
but
poodle skirt, I
like
mean.
that the Pink Ladies were tough. That was a
Hmm.
nice kind of combo. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Another
there we
movie
are.
that has a lot of pink actually is Miss Congeniality. Have you seen that one? The Sandy
Oh, of
Bullock
course,
one.
yeah, yeah, of course.
There's a lot of pink in that as well. Because obviously it's like all the beauty pageant people.
Have we not said Pretty in Pink? One of the most
Oh,
iconic Gen X
how did we
movies.
forget Pretty in Pink? Oh my God. Yes. Amazing. Molly Ringwald.
I don't
Love
know if
her.
we'll have any listeners who have not seen Pretty in Pink. If you are our age and had access to it, I'm sure you've seen it. But if you have not, it is a classic of 80s American cinema. It's set in a high school. It's about prom and men and class and many other
Hmm.
things. And it is there is an iconic pink dress there for sure. I should have said that. I mean, of course, on Wednesdays we wear pink in Mean
Yeah.
Girls.
Hmm.
I don't know. I really have dropped the ball on my Hollywood pink options here, there,
I
and
feel
Ben
like there's a
Franklin.
fair bit of pink in 16 Candles as well.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like high school movies do have a fair bit of pink in them, which makes sense.
Carrie. Isn't Carrie wearing a pink dress in the prom scene?
Yes. Which
Yeah.
soon becomes red
Red.
for
Yeah.
reasons that we will not mention.
There's a lot of pink
True.
out
The Pink
there.
Panther. The Pink Panther
The
movies.
Pink
I love
Panther, and
those.
then is it Harvey where someone's in a bunny suit, a pink bunny suit,
I
I
don't know,
do
Harvey.
believe.
What is that?
Um,
I have no idea what that is. I only know, I mean, I know Pink Panther with
yeah,
like Inspector Clouseau and
it's
everything. That
got
was
Jimmy
cute.
Stewart in it, and there's a sort of
Okay.
a rabbit, which I think is a oh no, the rabbit is white. Never mind. Take that whole thing out. Never mind, never mind.
Okay.
But there, am I thinking of the Nestle Quick bunny who is pink? I don't know what I'm thinking of. It doesn't matter.
Isn't
But
the Energizer bunny pink? I think that one is pink. The drumming
oh yeah.
bunny for the
Hmm.
batteries, he's pink, I
Hmm.
think.
He is
Yeah.
pink.
Okay.
So many options.
Lots of options. Okay. Is there a specific actor? I know for yellow, we said that Juhi Chawla just typifies
Oh,
yellow, and then for red, it's of course Smita Patil. Is there a person that makes you
Sweet
think of the
Debbie.
color pink? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say Rekha.
Nice. Nice.
Because I was thinking of like, especially if you watch Silsila, just for the fashions alone,
Oh
that movie is
yes.
worth watching. I
Oh
remember
yeah.
back in the Tumblr and the live journal days, people would always be posting pictures of Rekha in Silsila, and she wears that beautiful pink sari, and
Mhm.
then she's wearing that pink salwar kameez, and then in the beginning, when there's that song at the wedding, at the Sangeet, Pehli Baar Dekha Aisa Jalwa, where Amitabh is flirting with her, she's wearing like a hot pink salwar kameez with the dupatta in the front.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
very she's wearing so much pink in that
He
film.
wears a lot of pink.
Yeah, and she looks amazing in it. Because of course it's Queen Rekha.
And
Uh,
depending on the color settings on your screen, some of her roses could look
yes,
very dark. I don't know if they're red or dark, dark pink, but they're
right. Like a
sometimes
hot
are.
pink, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sridevi's pink outfit from Chandni when she's
Oh,
dancing on Mere Haathon Mein Nono Churiya Hai, that's very pink. I feel like Yash Chopra films had like a fair bit of pink because he loved putting his actresses in pastels. I mean, of course, he's famous for like putting them in white also, but I do think he put his actresses in a fair bit of pinks as well. So, okay, Sridevi and Rekha, two icons of pink. That's a good one.
mhm.
Um, and of course, Karishma and Nishchit. I'm gonna go watch that song
I
again.
mean, I can't imagine there's a woman Indian star who's not wearing pink in
Oh
several
yeah.
significant
There's
roles for the
there's
same.
this movie that is not like super well known, but I really like this movie. It's called Prahar, and it's from the 90s. I want to say it's I think it was made by Nana Patekar, but anyway, Madhuri Dixit is in it. She has like a really small role, but there's an engagement song where her engagement has been announced, and she's wearing a very frothy pink frock in that. And here's the best thing: she has like one of those like hair ornaments here, like a big pink thing in her hair. Oh, it's delightful. I love that frock also. And she's like dancing around in it and has like a big poofy sleeve. It's wonderful. I want all of those fashions to come back.
Which film is this?
Prahar.
Okay.
It's like literally a movie that like about like military school, but that one song, it's called Dharkan Zara Ruk Gayi Hai. It's the engagement party of Madhuri Dixit, and she has like a bit role in this
Okay.
film, but she's wearing a floofy pink frock in it as well.
I just was Googling Sridevi Pink and oh boy, those some doozies. So I recommend that
I
you do that.
will. Okay, I think that wraps up this episode of the color series on pink. We still have white and the metallics to go,
Yeah.
and then we'll be done. Let us know what you think of when you think of the color pink. Tell us what your favorite pink movies are or your favorite outfits are. Have you seen Honeymoon Travels Private Limited? I'm sure you have. So tell us what you think about that movie. And then if you have not seen Natarang, then please go ahead and watch it. And I'll try to find the YouTube link to put in the caption for you. We will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.